Oh, another one.
Got another good one.
Oh, and he smoked it at about that 6 to 8 foot zone. That guy.
So what about the first one?
First one I think was a little deeper. He was around 10 to 12 feet. My line had just bellied out. Like when you cast that wet line out,
yeah,
you have to allow it to belly down and start bringing that chironomid up. And it was just as I was starting to bring it up that he took. So I figured I was at 20 feet and I probably brought it up, you know, for a little while, a few feet. So yeah, it's probably about 10 to 12 feet. This one here, a little higher. I almost had my whole line up and he just whacked it.
So would you change it up knowing that maybe they're not down as deep as you thought they were? Would you change it up at all? Like...
Right now, like well, of course, this is all about wet lines. And if, you know, as far as I'm concerned, a dry line out there with a little indicator or a little weighted chironomid just to get it down in that level, then you cover more of a lateral area instead of a vertical zone. But right now, covering that vertical zone, you have a good chance of picking up fish that are cruising at every zone. Whereas if you get the dry line on, you're covering more of a lateral zone.
Okay.
And if we find that they're keying on, you know, 10 to 12 feet, maybe we'll put on an intermediate sink or even the dry line with the wet, you know, with the wet tip, and allow it to come through a lateral zone that way. So it might be good. We might change that up a little later and show that way of doing the wet line.
Right on. Okay.
Well, let's get this guy in. He's a little guy. Oh, this guy's a nice little one. Okay. And again, barbless hooks. It's all we ever use is barbless hooks. A lot of lakes require that you use barbless hooks. Check your regulations. Make sure you know. Because more and more there are requiring barbless hooks. And if you get caught out there with a barbed hook, you could be in trouble. So make sure you check your regs. Now, if I don't lose this guy like I did the last one, we'll try to...
he's just going to go again.
He's just going to go, isn't he?
Yeah, we got a good shot of him.
Okay, there you can see him in the water. He's a nice little fish.
Yeah, there he is. Beauty.
There he is there.
Yeah.
I'll just let him...
They're pretty fish here. They are pretty fish here.
They are pretty fish in here. They're a Pennask rainbow. And Pennask are notorious for taking to the big air. They love to jump, and that's what makes it exciting. And one thing about chironomiding too, as soon as you hook a fish up on a chironomid, first thing he does, into the air.
Goes vertical.
Goes vertical. And that's funny, you know, when we're using a wet line with a leech or something else, they tend to muscle. You get the odd jump, but not many. Chironomiding, they take to the air. That's what makes it real special. So let's see if we can get another one. All right.
You're not going to believe what just happened here. We don't have our cameraman with us, so Dawn and I are doing the filming today. And of course I left my line out and it's sitting there filming Dawn's last fish. And just right at the end of it, I could kind of hear something while I had a fish on because I left my chironomid over the edge. And here he's here, nice fish. Good little rainbow. That's just too funny.
Well, you know, that's the thing about chironomiding. That chironomid was just sitting out there, and that's what chironomids do.
You ready here, fella? Okay, let's see if we can get this out here. Caught right in that hard part of the side of the jaw. There it is there.
There it is there.
Nice little guy.
Oh, nice fish.
Yeah, I don't know. We're looking at probably somewhere 12 to 14 inches, something like that. Oh, that water is unbelievably cold. No wonder they're a little bit sluggish, and no wonder the chironomids are so long and so late in the year coming off.
Oh, man. Another guy.
Yeah, nice one.
Right. Yeah, the wet line chironomid technique, you know, it's a lot of fun to fish. You tend to get hooked up in the bottom sometimes when you cast too much line, but you get a good feel for it. It's really good to practice and perfect the technique, especially when you get into problems with deep water. If the fish are not moving up on the shoals, you know, especially early in the day, fish are always feeding on chironomids. You know, they feed on them all the time. There's the odd case when they're not, but your odds are pretty good that you're going to get some on chironomids all the time. So, nice little guy again.
Yeah, good one. They're pretty fish here.
Yeah, none of the big guys are moving yet. You know, of course, there's not a big hatch going on yet either. It's
well, it's about noon right now. We figured noon to 3 was the time.
Noon to 3 in this lake is normally when they come on. That's normally the good time. So we'll get him in here.
Yeah, good looking fish.
Yeah. Okay, there he is. He's fairly thin. He's not a real big guy, but he's a nice fish. There he is there.
Yeah, a little snaky-like, but...
Yeah, a little snaky-like, but a nice fish. Good, nice colors to him.
Yeah, he
Let
gets
him
into
revive a little bit.
Feeding a little bit more.
There he goes.
Okay, let's see if we can get him up here. Oh, there he goes again. Oh, there he goes, yeah.
Oh,
Oh, you gotta love catching fish on the Chironomid.
Well, you know what? Don't be like me and lose them.
Oh, good running, too.
I mean, losing everything.
Well, you know, you got to just pay attention. Shouldn't say that because I'm probably going to lose them. But you know what's important are a lot of the little details. You know, Don went through the recommended setup. Look how much line this guy's
Oh, I know.
He's a good solid fish. The little details, like making sure you anchor up. Anchoring is so important. So many guys we see come out chironomid fishing who you know are trying to be good chironomid fishermen, but you just forget one little detail like anchoring, and anchoring is just so critical because when you find the fish, you want to stay there. We've been out here for, well, we fished for 32 minutes is what we fished for, and we've caught, you know, it must be 8 or 9 fish now. Here comes a good look at him. Getting to be a little better size. Good fighter, this guy too. Wow.
Is he ever?
Excellent fight. Beautiful.
Oh, is that a nice fish?
Isn't that gorgeous? Look how healthy he is.
Oh, nice fish.
I should probably.
And you know, that's the size that's coming on right now.
Yeah. Upside down. Good. There you go. Fly clear. Turn's probably gonna go. Yep.
There you go.
Just so full of life. And that guy gave it a good fight. Well, you know what I got on right now? There's a little Chironomid that's got a silver body to it, and it's got a little red tail, and I don't think we've tied that one up on the bench for you. So I think what we should do is go to the bench and Don can tie you up that Chironomid. Like he says, you know, you got to try and match the hatch, or you got to be close, maybe tie it a little bit bigger. If you get one that works, I'll stick with it. Here's one that should work for you.
Hi everybody, and welcome to the bench. Well, today I've got a real nice little pattern for you. It's called the Holographic Chironomid. This fly was originally tied by Kelly Latch, and it works really well when those silver chironomids are coming off. Make sure you have these materials ready before you tie this fly. We're going to tie the fly on a size 14 TMC 2487 hook. We'll use some 8/0 black thread. We'll use some bright orange thread for the butt, some holographic tinsel for the body. We'll use some PEACOCK HERL for the thorax. We'll use a 3/32 gold bead for the bead. And for the gills, we'll use some white ANTRON yarn. I've tied on my black thread, and now I've taken some of my white ANTRON yarn, and we're just going to put this right up by the eyelet and tie on what's going to imitate the gills. Now to get the gold bead on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to whip finish the thread, and then I'm going to slip my gold bead right over the hook all the way over this white ANTRON yarn. I now have my white ANTRON on for the gills, and I have my gold bead on. And now we're going to put this bright orange thread on and form a nice red butt section for the fly. I now have the orange butt tied into the back, and I've re-tied on my black thread. Now taking a strand of my holographic tinsel, I'm just going to tie this in and now wrap it forward to form a nice shiny body on the fly. And keep it fairly thin, it is a chironomid. Now that the body's tied in, I've taken one strand of my PEACOCK HERL, and we're just going to tie it in to form the thorax of the fly, and really to cover up some of this black thread that's formed just behind the gold bead. The last stage to the fly now is to trim off this white ANTRON. So what we'll do is we'll trim it off to about 1/8 of an inch in length, just to form a nice little white gill sack at the top of the fly. I really enjoy using this fly with the wet line chironomid techniques, mainly because we are fishing deeper water where the light levels are lower, and that extra sparkle in the fly really seems to work.